Hello everyone, it's the video that I have been waiting for and Chris has been eager to get stuck into as well.
I have, yeah.
We're going to be checking out some of the brand new plastics that are coming out with the new British book, and that also includes, I think, some other stuff that we don't have with us, but
yeah, that's right.
That's on
yeah.
its way too.
Yeah.
So, of course, being who I am, we have some vehicles to look at. And we have a couple of new guns as well, which is very interesting. So I'm going to let you decide which one you want to look at first.
Oh, choice is all mine, is it? Okay, well, let's go for then the Crusader Anti-Aircraft tank.
All right,
gun.
Let's go for it.
So what we've got here is, this is actually a mid-war Crusader Sprue.
Yep.
That we are using again, but with an extra option on it. So people that have played mid-war British will already know about this sprue here. Because what the British did is they said, right, we've got all these Crusaders. They work very well. They do what they're meant to do. They're just slightly outclassed now by some of the
bigger
newer
stuff.
Yeah, the newer bits. So what they did and what we did is basically create a new turret. So this is a one-piece sprue that we've got that's going to be going into the box with the existing sprues to create the tank.
Yeah.
And what it is basically your top and bottom of your turret and this new anti-aircraft gun. So if we get the completed model up, that'll probably be best. So this is the top-down view, and as you can see, it is a Crusader, but with this nice new turret on it.
Yeah.
And the way that they've engineered it is that actually does go up and down, which is quite neat. I'm going to have to be very careful because this is the first one shot, so if I snap this, especially live on camera, I'll probably get told off. But yeah, this is the Crusader. This is an dedicated anti-aircraft gun. So in terms of the game terms, it is designed to be taking out that plane.
Yeah.
Sort of menace and threat that comes in. But at a pinch, you can use it as a anti-personnel, and you can use it against that. Not so great against tanks. The armor is little less than what it needs to be in this late war period, but it's been repurposed, and that's the idea behind it. So those that know and love the Crusader sprue from a couple of years ago will already know this tank. But with the new turret on it, it's a beautiful kit, and it looks really nice when it's fully painted up and ready to go. It
does what the tank in real life did, is it gives it a new lease of life.
Yes.
It has a different thing it can do now, and it's you see some footage of this in Normandy as well. Like there's this gorgeous shot, and I can't remember what division it is, but it almost looks like it's dawn, and there's a fog on this big open plain, and there's a firefly in the foreground. There's even a kangaroo somewhere in there, but there's a couple of Cromwells or maybe a couple of Shermans, and in the background you see one of these things with the barrel straight up in the air, and you're like, I wonder what that is. I've never seen that before. Now we know what it is.
Now we know we've got it, yeah. And it's very similar to the Chieftain Marksman from Team Yankee for World War III, in that it's repurposed. So it's a Chieftain tank. They've removed the main turret off of it and put this new turret on. Whereas the World War III Team Yankee is a resin and metal turret for that kit, this to say is the all-new plastic to fit in with the plastics in the D-Day British book, which just gives you a whole new option and support that you can use for your British armies. So,
absolutely.
Yeah, that's your first one there, John.
Yeah, right.
Right. Go on then, the choice is yours next then.
Okay, so choice is mine. I think we should interspace these.
Absolutely.
I think we're going to look at the 17-pounder now.
No problem at all. So,
because before we start on it, because we know that when we ran our Desert War boot camp for Flames when 4th edition just came out, you guys had the first initial production of the 17-pounder, which had the 25-pounder carriage.
Yes.
So it didn't have the usual split leg sort of thing. It was just the field artillery carriage, even with the big rotational wheel underneath it and stuff. And a 17-pounder
crank it up to turn it around.
Yeah. So we've all seen that. That's really nice as well. And I knew that when you were mentioning 17-pounder, I knew we were getting the proper gun carriage this time as well.
Correct. Yeah.
So let's have a look. Let's chuck it
Absolutely.
under.
So again, it's one 17-pounder gun per sprue.
Yep.
And as you can see, it's a very small sprue, even next to my fat fingers. But it's a small sprue that it's an easy to build kit. You've got obviously your gun shield. You've, like you say, you got the carriage. You got the actual gun there. You got separate wheels. To plug and play on there. At the same time, you've got the few bits of the breech just to make up that fit into that it all sticks together. So it's got quite a bit of detail, and you've also got your ammo box as well on there. And in terms of a completed model, again, the 17-pounder was obviously that evolution, like you say, from the 17/25-pounder to basically create this kit that was actually dedicated in its anti-tank role, in that it could take out pretty much anything that it went up against if it chose to. And very similar to any of the other anti-tank guns that we've got, it's one of those highly detailed kits that has the options to be used in a variety of, should we say, formations and roles. So in the kit, not only will you get your gun, but you'll also get the plastic airborne artillery crew, as well as the plastic regular artillery crew. So depending on whatever formation you're building from your D-Day British book, you can use the same gun just with different crew for different purposes, basically.
And if you feel really clever about it, you could magnetize your crews down. If you really feel like it, you could magnetize the crew down and actually switch them out if you're playing different armies. Absolutely.
Or even what you could do is leave the gun separate and have 2 artillery bases for each gun and just move the gun onto each one, and that would be even less...
that would be cool.
That would be an idea I'd be having.
or you could do the ultimate cheat, and you could make the base into a diorama, and have it covered with top cover camouflage so you don't see the crew anyway.
Absolutely, it's just a gun for whichever.
See, there you go.
You got your foliage in there, excellent.
If you hate painting infantry, that's the way to go.
But it's another really detailed kit that the design team have obviously put together. It's got obviously even the spades at the back, which at the moment are obviously quite elevated. But if you wanted to have it a bit more dug in, you could actually trim them down. And obviously put them in if you wanted to. You could put it behind a wall. You can put it behind that foliage. You can put bushes in front of it because it's on that artillery base. You could even do your own little diorama, as you say.
Yeah, absolutely.
But it's a several point piece. So unlike a lot of the older artillery pieces you sometimes see, where it's just one piece, this is, as you saw on the sprue, has got like sort of 4 or 5 parts to the breech, the actual gun itself and the barrel and everything.
And that's allowing you guys to add that extra detail that, well, adding the extra detail without increasing the amount of parts.
Yes.
Without making it prohibitively
complicated in any way. But the detail is definitely in there, which you'll also see on the next couple of sprues as well for that exact reason. So
yeah, absolutely. So 17 pounder.
Yep.
What next? Is your choice, actually.
My choice. Okay. Well, and tell you what then, let's go back to some armoured vehicles again.
Okay.
And for this one, I'm going to show you, this is our new sprue, for the Daimler armoured car and the Daimler Dingo armoured car.
Dingoes are amazing.
Dingoes are cute. I don't know if we're allowed to say cute tanks, but it's a cute.
It's
an armoured fighting vehicle.
But it is cute.
Yeah.
I mean, I was showing Shay, one of our staff in here, he was looking at the World War III stuff I'm doing, and I showed him the Fox, built Fox, and he was like, that's amazing. I showed him a picture of it next to a Challenger, and he was like, oh my God, that is so tiny. And I was like, wait till you see the Dingo.
Absolutely.
Because the Dingo's tiny.
And here we've got the Dingo, So this is a 2-in-1 sprue.
Yep.
And it is literally split down the middle, so you kind of use this large block as the split. So on the left-hand side here, you've got the Daimler itself. So you've got obviously each side of the armoured car, as well as the main bodywork, as you could call it, the chassis. The hull even, okay. If we're talking ships. No. Obviously, you've got the top part there, and then you've got the turret with the 2 different options. So in this, you've got the straight 2-pounder.
You've
also got the option of taking a Little John.
Yes.
Obviously, the Little John is the bore adapter, which squeezed it from, was it 40mm down to 30mm device. In game terms, it actually makes it slightly better anti-tank rating, because the muzzle velocity is increased. I think that's what we said this morning.
Yeah, probably by restricting the bore, it's increasing the gas pressure behind it by giving that a smaller space to expand into.
Which is the muzzle velocity to get through the armour, and yes, creates essentially
a slightly better anti-tank rating.
And as I was saying to you, like the Little John I've seen at Bovington is like about this big or so, and it screws onto the end of the barrel.
Yeah.
It's brilliant. It's squaddy proof.
Is it though?
Well, I'm sure we can try and break it somewhere. But the actual Daimler itself has obviously got both options for that. So in the book, you can take it as 1-on-1. So you can take one Daimler with a 2-pounder, one with a Little John adapter on it, or you can take 2-pounder variants on there. So I'll just whip that sprue out for a second, and I'll then show you the completed model here. This is the version with just the 2-pounder on the turret, because it's slightly shorter, ever so slightly. But a nice little kit again. This is the one we were talking about, where it's got the split reverse on the gearbox as well. So they had a driver's port at the back where the commander could jump down. It's got its own steering wheel. Literally stick it into reverse, and then it just slows itself down and then goes into reverse, and he's driving it backwards.
It's such a very clever design from the Daimler company as well. And I've seen them drive around at Bovington. There was one at Bovington the year I went to Tank Fest, and the Daimler just purred just purred its way around the arena. I was like, you are so pretty.
Yeah, and they are, and they're very, in terms of their actual, when they were building, they were very well built. They were, the standout really. And it did its job. It was a recce vehicle. So the idea was it got forward. If it needed to, it could reverse just as fast.
Yep.
But a 40 mil gun on it, or a 2-pounder, is actually not to be sniffed at, really.
It's really, it's threatening, particularly in the Normandy campaign, it's threatening that light armoured enemy reconnaissance and troop carrying capacity.
Yeah.
So the German 251s and stuff like that, if they faced this, were in serious trouble.
Yeah, and at the moment with what the German book's looking like in terms of lots of Panzer Grenadiers armoured up in the 251s,
there's going to be a lot of that.
Yeah. This thing can do a little bit of damage, and with the Little John adapter, it basically makes it into a 6-pounder QRF type sort of anti-tank rating. So actually, one of the two of them across the battlefield is actually going to start doing some damage if you've got them in support roles and things.
Trying to do what a recce should be doing and nipping around to have a look at flanking positions and low ground and stuff like that.
Absolutely. And then when you combine it with the Dingo as well, so the Dingo on here is even less parts, if you can believe that, from the full-size version, shall we say.
Yeah.
But you've got obviously your top hull here, you've got your side and your main hull.
Yep.
And then you've got, I think that's the back plate, the front plate, and is that a Bren gun on there?
Yeah, it looks like a Bren gun.
So you can obviously put that into the front of it. And what that does is it scouts out even further ahead. It's part of obviously your combined troop.
Yeah.
And as you said, it is a very small one. I mean, it's literally the size of my thumb, when you put it up next to the actual Daimler. It's brilliant.
It's about the size of it's about the size of your plastic Jeep.
Yeah, essentially, it's built around very much the same way, where you've got essentially just 4 pieces. And the fact that we now include it all on the sprue. So the mid-war version was metal and resin, and in that you only got 1 Dingo, I think, and 2 Daimlers. Whereas this one, because it's all on that sprue,
you get
2 sprues for what you need. Because within the unit listing, you have a standard of 2 Daimlers and 1 Dingo, but you can add an extra Dingo, which has got that rate of fire with a machine gun for a bit of anti-personnel support, while the regular Daimlers are obviously taking out any enemy armor. Yeah, or light armor, should we say. It's not going to go against the Panzer IV for very long, but, it's a really nice little kit. And again, it's all plastic, so it's easy to put together. It's extremely lightweight.
Yep.
And the detail that we can get into these plastics, again, that is brilliant.
I just want to do the size comparison because, I mean, Crusaders aren't big tanks anyway, but it's just, bumping up against the Dingo, and the Dingo is just a tiny little box on wheels.
It is, but they're just they're so nice, really, just in terms of what they're actually doing on them. So
there is a guy that lives about 40 miles away from here, from our studios, and he collected all this rubbish when the British Army were getting rid of it as cheap as he could.
Right.
Now, I've seen these with my own eyes, and it makes a tear happen every time, that he has 15 of these lying in a yard stacked on top of each other. And they've been there for nearly 40 years.
Oh, no.
So 15 Dingoes that he picked up at whatever the price was at the time, maybe in the late 50s or early 60s, and they are just rotten. They're absolutely, because unlike the Daimler and unlike other armoured vehicles, the Dingo is a regular chassis. It's a C-channel chassis or whatever it is, with the armour bolted on the top.
Yeah.
So the chassis is regular metal, but the armour plate is obviously tougher stuff. So the chassis are all going away.
Yeah.
So the axles are falling out the bottom of them, the belly plates are away. But you're left with the armour plate, and you're like, you've already ruined the irreplaceable parts of it.
Just by having it stacked there,
Yeah, it's a crying shame, because they're a very sought-after vehicle now.
Yeah. I can see why.
From a collector's point of view, people are looking towards armour that you can keep in a garage.
Yes.
A standard car garage, which is about the size of this room, essentially. You can fit a Dingo in here. You could fit 2 Dingoes in this room.
I see a challenge here. No.
Challenge accepted. Yeah, so let's say we could fit 2 Dingoes or 1 Daimler in this room.
Going to take 2 Dingoes, then we can race them.
Yeah. So that is all except one more.
Absolutely, yes.
And I think... Can you tell me the name of the model designer behind this?
I believe this is Tim Adcock again, downstairs in the UK. So he's our digital sculptor that's not a sculptor, because he's a designer as well. He's got lots of different banners that he comes under. But this is one of his ones again, because he's the one that gave me all this precious kit with strict instructions to bring it back again.
I see. Tim, good job. But next time send him with stuff that you can leave
or forget about,
or lose, or be strong armed out of. This, I think, is one of Battlefront's more ambitious models.
Absolutely.
It feels ambitious. It looks ambitious. I am also a little bit scared to touch it. But if you want to chuck the sprue under first, we can then say what it is.
So this is your Bofors Anti-Aircraft Gun.
Yeah.
So this is a whole new plastic kit. Again, we've never done this in plastic. That as the actual model, you've got your nice cruciform base here. That's not a cruciform because it's kind of...
It's an X.
It's an X,
or a plus sign, depending on which way you look at it.
Da, 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 da.
Yeah.
You've obviously got the gun itself, and then all of these intricate parts that build up the gun shield, the base of the gun itself.
Yep.
You've got the top supporting frame as well that keeps it kind of where it needs to be because it's such a long gun itself.
Yep.
I think, if I remember rightly, the Bofors were the ones that were protecting London.
Yes.
That they then managed to get onto movable bases to tow behind things, but were pretty much stationary when they were in theatre.
Yeah.
If I remember rightly on them.
The Bofors went in 2 or 3 different flavors. There was towed versions, which this would represent one of.
Mm-hmm.
The Americans had one, and the British had one. I remember we were trying, because at one point we were trying to buy a Bofors. Don't ask. And Dad kept complaining because it was always the American wheels that were on. It was GMC truck wheels that were on all of them. He's like, it's not the British one. The British one had small poxy wheels that were completely useless. And I was like, well, why don't you get the American one? Because it's not right to tow behind a British vehicle. And I was like, all right, fine. So, yes, Bofors were one of the iconic anti-aircraft guns. Certainly from the Commonwealth side of things, they defended London. Anytime you see footage of the Mulberry Harbours, there's always a Bofors on the top of the casemates and stuff like that. And they tried to mount it basically anywhere they could on anything they could.
Yeah.
Not to the same extent the Germans did with anti-aircraft guns. They didn't make like the British equivalent of a mobile wagon or something like that, or an Ostwind or a verbal wind.
There's a good conversion chance there, I feel, somewhere.
I'm pretty sure I have seen Bofors mounted on the backs of trucks and stuff like that as well, just because, that truck's spare, that Bofors is spare.
Let's do it, yeah.
1 + 1 = anti-aircraft vehicle, But a very, very cool gun, and yeah, I think Tim is going to cause a lot of headaches with people that aren't totally used to finer detail models. And
they are, but when you're looking at the actual model on the sprue, it is almost plug and play.
Yeah.
So you have just got the guiding sort of joints to put bits into,
Yep.
and as we'll show you on the main model, it is rather delicate, but it all spins around because it's just plug and play into there, you see. And it is delicate. I mean, I'm not going to lie. But it does its job, and it looks really nice. You've got obviously the ammo boxes there as well, as it's sort of pom-pom in a way, as you'd say.
Yep.
And the fact that it all fits onto the one artillery base is really nice again. In terms of gameplay potential, you've got your dedicated anti-aircraft again, so it is designed to take down sort of rogue enemy aircraft, but it can at a pinch use for anti-personnel, so you can sort of lower it down, and it's got that anti-personnel rate of fire on it as well. Will
this also have the same availability for crews?
I believe it's just the regular army that would use it.
The airborne wouldn't have had
anything
like that.
No, because what they would be basically doing is for the airborne, they'd be in at the dead of night. If there's any aircraft coming over, it's easier for them to melt away than to have these set up and ready to go. It's not really air portable, I don't think.
No.
So no, this will just be regular regular army sprues in there, shall we say?
Yeah.
But again, it's a lovely kit that they've actually outdone themselves. It fits straight into that plastic profile. Like I said several times, that everything in this book is plastic, apart from the aerial observation, which is the resin one. Everything else is plastic, so it just makes it so much easier to stick together. And for those that haven't done it before, it might be a little difficult, but it's always easier to put plastic than resin and metal.
Just take your time when you're building it. So.
Absolutely, yeah.
Again, I would like to see this done as a little diorama with a little sandbag and placement around it and stuff.
Absolutely,
No top cover, obviously, but make it look like they've dug it in.
Put a roof on it, oh wait.
Yeah, never mind. What was I going to say? There's some cool footage of these things firing, and I remember Dad pointing that out to me once. It was during when the V1 attacks started to happen after D-Day, there's a great documentary on it done back in the 80s, The Secret War, Episode 3, Terror Weapons. They talked to a lot of the British scientists and stuff that were researching and developing ways and means to figure out, A, what a V1 was or what a V2 was and how to combat them.
Yeah.
And they'd come up with radio proximity fuses not so long, using some American technology in that. And they turned around and said, well, all our anti-aircraft guns were in London, so anytime we shot down a V1, the wreckage inevitably fell on London anyway.
Itself, yeah.
And this guy, I think it was at Lord Charwell or something like that, turned around and said, what we needed to do was to circumvent the Air Defence High Command and move all the guns before they realised that we'd done it. So what they did was they got every anti-aircraft battery in London to pack its kit up, move by night, and reset itself on the coast. Wow. And he said London was undefended for about 24 hours. And by the time the RAF had realised what had happened, the guns were already set up and were shooting down nearly every V1 that crossed the channel. So they couldn't really argue with us at that point.
Yeah, they've done what we were meant to do.
But there's a great bit of footage of a battery of these things all lined up on the coast, and they're all blatting away as hard as they can. And every time you see the magazines on them, they feed one down at a time, and then there's an extender they put on, lift the lever to continue feeding down. And as they're doing this, there's another group of guys stood behind them with a whole set of fresh barrels ready to go on. As soon as they overheated, unscrew the barrel, get the next one on, and keep going. Really cool stuff. So.
Absolutely, yeah. So that's sadly all that I've got with me today, but we have got some other plastic kits coming that have never been done before. Yep. So more teasing, I suppose, than anything else. But we've got the sculpts for the plastic airborne.
Yep.
So whether that's your air landing company or your paratroop companies. So formation-wise, I think there's 37 new sculpts of individual men, whether that's NCOs, officers, troops, Sten guns, brain guns, as we go. And they're all going to be wearing the Denison smock and everything as well. So that's all new plastic that's coming for it as well. And then within the book as well, in terms of plastic, you've got Churchills and Cromwells. And the Churchills and Cromwells have already been out for a little while. So people are already used to those kits. But all they will be doing is using the other parts on the kits that you've not been able to use before. So, for example, the Churchill, we'll talk about the Avery and the Crocodile with the little trailer on the back. And then with the Cromwell, you've obviously got the options for the 95mm versus the 75mm gun and stuff. So it's all plastic. It's all cool. It means that your army bag doesn't weigh a ton as you pick it up.
which is one of the more important things I found with Battlefront Miniatures, particularly in the past, I'd say 5 years.
Yeah.
A lot of the range has went to plastic. And as that shift started, I was getting more and more interested because resin and metal models, I think, have really had their day.
Yeah.
I think the technology has gone beyond requiring to do that for 70 to 80% of your model range now.
Yes, now it's actually flipped the other way probably, where it's 80% plastic and the tooling on them is so intricate that it's worth doing it in plastic now, isn't it?
And there's still places where you have to think, well, is it time for us to invest in this particular plastic sprue? This is maybe one of the vehicles that you use less of or you sell less of. Marksman, for example, is a good one from Team Yankee. You're not going to make yet or in the foreseeable a plastic turret sprue for that particular model. You have to kind of see where the market goes with it before you decide to invest.
Yeah, absolutely. Whereas we've seen with British especially that they are always a good army that a lot of people go into one place, so it does make sense to get it in plastic for them so that it overall reduces the cost of putting an army together, but the conversion aspects of it or to add things onto it or even just putting it together. And plastic is so much easier with just a bit of poly cement as opposed to super glue and then activator or having to sand stuff down and
And I think I think Battlefront's proving this really well with the fact that you can take the Crusader sprue, for example, and say we need the anti-aircraft one. Well, you don't need to remake that entire sprue. You just need to make sure that whatever turret conversion you make for it just fits the plug.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's it. And you demonstrate that very well with that. So
yeah, indeed. Because to say that model that we've got there is a Crusader sprue from about 3 years ago now, 2017-ish.
Yeah.
And then obviously we've got the new turret, which is this year, and it just fits on seamlessly and works.
Yeah, absolutely.
Indeed.
So lots of cool stuff. You keep...
I'm sorry.
You keep doing this every time we talk about new plastic kits and stuff like that. With the you have flooded me with the thing I love the most, which is British forces, and funnily enough, it's modern and World War II now as well. So I mean, you know,
So much more to come, John, as well.
I don't. One at a time, please.
I'll slow it down for you.
Line them up slowly for me, please. So yeah, we're gonna have to get our hands on a lot of this stuff and chuck out some painting tutorials and see what sort of fun I can do with the 17 pounders. See if I can avoid painting crew for them.
Some nice dioramas as well, yeah.
Yeah, I'm happy enough. So it'd be good to see all this stuff come out, see the starter sets and everything, and how the release goes. So, as always, thank you very much for watching. If you have any comments, if we've said anything stupid, please let us know below. But until then, thanks very much, and we'll see you again soon.
Go ahead and check out our other content on screen now. And while you're at it, why not hit subscribe and remember to ding our dong. Go on, you know you want to click it. Go on.